is the CJ Werleman Show.
Hello, it's your friend CJ, and in this episode we examine why the entire world is now laughing at Israel's expense, and why that laughter has deadly consequences for the Zionist occupation. But first, please remember to like and subscribe to our show, and don't forget to turn your notifications on so you never miss a single episode. Now let's get into it. Israel is now perceived more negatively than any other country in the world, with North Korea and Taliban-ruled Afghanistan ranked behind the Zionist state in a distant second and third place, according to a new survey. To put it bluntly, everyone hates Israel, because everybody now sees clearly what the Zionist state is all about.
Israel. Nobody believes you. Nobody likes you. No matter how much media covers for you, no matter how much politicians you buy to parrot your talking points, no matter how many fake influencers you hire to whitewash your face, no matter how many fake Indian-based accounts that tweet for you, no matter how many European models you bring in and you pay them so they can dance with the IDF uniform, right? That everybody can see you, everybody can smell your bullshit.
But here's the thing about Israel. It actually loves being hated. It thrives on being hated because it weaponizes your disdain and condemnation of its criminal actions by smearing you an anti-Semite, and then shouting, "See, we need a Jewish state to protect European and American Jews from all of this anti-Semitism." This sleight of hand has worked all too well and for far too long, but what Zionists can't live with is the world doubling over in collective laughter at Israel's expense. For the simple reason, comedy is truth cloaked in heavy armor.
I feel like Israel is like a kid who got bullied a lot and then grew up and then became like a bigger bully. And everybody's like, why is he doing that? And they're just like, he had a tough childhood. And then they're like, can we stop him? And they're like, nah, his parents donate a lot to the school. So we just gotta ride this out.
Israel has a right to exist in the War Crimes Hall of Fame. Don't worry, they're there with the United States also.
Israel is so uncomfortable when a comedian steps up to a microphone and says what every human rights lawyer, every UN rapporteur, and every Amnesty International report has been screaming for decades, but says it in a way that makes you laugh.
If Israel has a right to exist, they're the only country that has that. Honest question, does Greenland have a right to exist? I feel like if they did, they would have brought it up by now. No country has a right to exist. That's why we have armies. When people ask if Israel has a right to exist, what they're actually asking is it right that Israel exists? Which is a more complicated question. You got to think about, okay, how would the last 80 years have played out if it wasn't for this one country? And it's like, yes, we would have avoided 3,000-4,000 wars.
When a comedian points out that you're calling a bombing campaign mowing the lawn, that's not anti-Semitism. That's someone refusing to let you hide a massacre behind landscaping metaphors. And when a cartoonist draws the uncomfortable truth that a child in Gaza and a child in Tel Aviv don't hold the same value in the eyes of the Western media, that's not hate speech, that's a mirror.
Présenter?
Oui, moi je m'appelle Blanche.
Bonsoir, Blanche.
Merci. Donc oui, je m'appelle Blanche et puis depuis le 7 octobre, je suis antisémite.
On applaudit, bravo. Bravo, merci. Blanche, bravo.
Ça m'a rendu vachement triste d'apprendre parce que moi je viens d'une famille de gauche.
Voilà, alors, t'inquiète pas, Blanche, ici tu es dans une safe place.
Okay.
Ici, personne ne te jugera, car ici, on est tous antisémites. Pas vrai, les copains? Alors, Blanche, quel a été le premier signe?
C'est le truc con, quoi. J'ai posté sur ma page Facebook, c'était juste après le démarrage du génocide. De la guerre contre les Palestiniens.
Contre les
colonisés.
Non, Blanche, pas les colonisés.
Contre les vilains arabes.
Alors oui, non, alors sur CNews, oui, mais Si on était sur France Inter, on dirait contre les...
Les terroristes.
Les terroristes, les
la
terroristes.
la guerre.
Bien entendu. Alors, il y a donc le début hein, de la guerre contre le terrorisme. Et qu'as-tu fait, Blanche? Qu'as-tu fait?
Eh ben, j'ai posté un appel à manifester pour le cessez-le-feu.
Et tu n'as pas senti que c'était antisémite?
Ben non, au début, non, j'ai pas...
Mais enfin, Blanche, enfin! Enfin! Cessez le feu, Blanche! C'est qui met le feu? Qui met le feu?
Les Israéliens.
Et les Israéliens, ce sont des Juifs, Blanche. Donc, si tu appelles à cesser le feu et que ce sont les Juifs qui mettent le feu, tu es donc contre les Juifs et tu es donc
Antisémite.
antisémite.
Laughter doesn't just entertain, it subverts. It tells the truth in a way propaganda can't touch. It also punches a hole in mythologies and sacred cows. And Israel, like every colonial project that came before it, runs entirely on mythology. It runs on the mythology of being the only democracy in the Middle East, on the mythology of making the desert bloom, on the mythology of people without a land for a land without a people. These myths are not accidental. They are load-bearing walls, and satire is a devastating wrecking ball.
Both countries, Australia and Israel, were formed off the back of some pretty genocidal mantras. You know, Australia started off the back of terra nullius, which means nobody's land. Israel, a land without a people, for a people without a land. So both countries, colonizers just rocked up, all like, oh, well, there's nobody here. There's absolutely nobody here. And then they proceeded to kill absolutely nobody and steal their land and start their countries. That's another similarity. And also both countries, Australia, Israel, wouldn't exist if it wasn't for the British. I mean, I don't know where we'd be, but that's a separate show, you know? But if it wasn't for the British, Israel wouldn't exist. Before the British came to Palestine in 1917, who was there? Just Palestinians, Muslims, Christians, Jews, just all hanging out, eating hummus and couscous or whatever. And then the British rocked up, the original Barmy Army, and they just took over the place and they renamed it British Mandate Palestine, which sounds like something Elon Musk would name his kid. And the locals were furious. They were like, hey, Britain, you can't just keep taking over countries, all right? This is 1917. You could get cancelled. And the British were like, don't worry about it. We've got a plan. And they were like, what's your plan? They put out a letter. It was a letter called the Balfour Declaration, which the British government sent to an investment banker named Lord Rothschild. And they said, in this letter, we commit to creating a homeland for the Jewish people. And the Palestinians are like, oh, sick. Where are you going to do that? And they're like, here, actually. Palestinians are like, well, we're already here. And the British are like, yes, well, we have dibsed it now. Dibs, like the first day of school when you run in and you throw your bag on a seat and you're like, that's my desk now. And the Palestinians are like, you can't just give away something that you just stole. That's like giving away a car that you just stole, Britain. And the British were like, interesting analogy, but no, we are not giving away the whole car. We're not doing Australia again. We are merely going to give away most of your car, but you will still have your wheel, but it'll be around your neck. And over time, it'll get tighter and tighter, suffocating and killing most of you. But don't worry about that minor detail. It's a minor detail. Trust me, we're the British, baby. This is what we do.
Think about what satire has done historically. Think about what it did to apartheid South Africa. Think about what it did to fascism in Europe when Charlie Chaplin took a sledgehammer to Adolf Hitler's ego in The Great Dictator, in which he mocked Hitler's mannerisms and macho delusions, therefore stripping him of his aura of invincibility before turning him into a punchline. Hitler, Trump, Netanyahu, and all other authoritarians hate being laughed at because it's impossible to counter a joke that lands. And you see, Israel can absorb your outrage. It has PR firms for your outrage. It has talking points for your anger. But it has no defense against a joke that lands, because a joke that lands means the audience already knows the truth that sits beneath it. And it's especially devastating for Zionists when the truth is delivered by someone who's Jewish.
I'm Jewish. Don't put me in the same category as those other, there's 3 levels to Jewish, okay? There's Jewish. That's where I am. I don't know where you are. Are you Jewish? You're Jewish. Yeah, okay. There's Orthodox Jews, and then there's we knew about 9/11, right? There's 3 different levels of Jews.
I think it is a tough time to be Jewish right now. Because you see all these signs that say free, but then it's just free Palestine. You go, free? What's free? Oh, Palestine. Oh, I have that already.
When a comedian points to a Western government writing a blank check to the Israeli military, which has killed more than 100,000 civilians, and the audience laughs, that laughter is recognition. That laugh is the sound of people saying, yes, we see it too. We've seen it the whole time. That's the power that Israel is afraid of. Because you can dismiss a protest, you can kettle it, you can ignore it, you can let the news cycle bury it in 48 hours, but you cannot unhear a joke. You cannot unfeel that moment of recognition when the absurdity is laid before you.
Yeah, I'm not allowed to do that, but it's still socially acceptable to Jesus Christ, if I'm mad at my dad, you go away.
When the history books are written, and they will be written, the question won't be whether people knew about Israel's genocidal operations in Gaza, because the documents exist, the satellite images exist, the testimonies exist. The question will be, why did so many people look away? And comedy, sharp, fearless, unflinching comedy is one of the tools that makes looking away just a little bit harder.
What my favourite part of Eurovision was when they were stood there and they were going, we stand with the plight of the Ukrainian people. We believe in freedom here at Eurovision to express anything, and anyone can express that. And the crowd was like, woo, yeah. And then they were like, up next is Israel. The Israelis came out and did their song, and they're like, if you bring up our war crimes, we'll bring up the Holocaust. And you're there like, fuck yeah, they can drop beats and Palestinian hospitals. These guys are sick.
Think about this for a second. You have a nuclear-armed state, the fourth most powerful military on the planet, a country that receives over $4 billion per year from the most powerful nation in human history. A country that has vetoed accountability in the UN Security Council more times than I have fingers and toes. And yet, a cartoon, a tweet, a stand-up bit from a comedian in Manchester or Melbourne or Minneapolis, and suddenly the entire Israeli diplomatic apparatus kicks into overdrive. Why? Why does a meme warrant a press release from the Israeli embassy? Why does a Saturday Night Live sketch trigger a formal complaint? And why does a Palestinian comedian doing 10 minutes at an open mic become a national security concern?
I posted a joke about Israel because it was funny. And I got trolled on by this account whose profile picture was a Pokemon. So you know he's legit. And Pikachu said, criticizing Israel is anti-Semitic. And I said, why? He said, because it's a Jewish state. Well, Israel is 20% Arab, so can I 20% criticize Israel? As humans, I think we should be able to criticize any country that we disagree with their government's actions. For instance, you guys remember what happened in 2022 in Iran? Horrible instance with the woman in the hijab and the government cracked down on the people. Can we all agree that was horrible? Can we all agree that? Can we all agree that? Okay, see, that's Islamophobic, okay? Because Iran is a Muslim state. Yeah, do you see how that's silly? If we can criticize Iran freely, we can criticize Israel freely, okay? They're both in the Middle East. They both start with an I. Sure, one's known for carpets, one's known for carpet bombing. I'm just saying I can make that joke because it's only 20% of my set.
And in the eyes of the world, Israel has become the joke, a sick joke, an easy punchline that comedians can now easily serve up to their Zionist hecklers.
Do you identify as Italian, as Israeli? Really half and half. Half and half. From my brother's side, it's completely Italian. Immigration from mother's side. So from your father's side, you're Italian? Yeah. For how many generations? I don't know. Just hundreds of years? Hundreds of years. And as Israeli, you're Israeli for how many generations? I would say that 3 generations ago it was called Ottoman Empire. 3 generations ago it was called Palestine, but you know, many countries have been part of the Ottoman Empire, but Albania has been Albania, you know, Palestine has been Palestine, Egypt has been Egypt. Have you ever visited Israel? Yeah. You know who can't? Millions of Palestinians. Right? Unless they have a work permit and they just can come in, you know, clean the asses of the Israelis and then go back home to their open air prison.
Comedy is at its most effective when it's punching up against existing power structures, be it racial, political, economic, or cultural. Which is why comedians who punch down on already marginalized or oppressed communities rarely raise a laugh. There's just nothing funny about fascism, Nazism, or Zionism. There's only cruelty. As illustrated in the way Israeli comedians mock starving Palestinian refugees and detainees who were raped by IDF soldiers.
יש לי רק שאלה אחת, תעזרו לי, אני מתחנן אליכם, תסבירו לי, כמה מטומטמים צריכים להיות אנשים בשביל לראות מצנח עם ארגז יורד מהשמיים ולהגיד זוזו 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 אני למד זוז תן לי יתגדל ויתקדש
Zionists making jokes about raping Palestinians in Israel, the rape capital of the Middle East, is peak Zionism. It's only down and out from here. This is why Israel's downfall is hilariously funny, and this is why Israel's days are numbered. Our mission and your mission is to help reduce that number by fully supporting the BDS initiative, which aims to starve the Zionist occupation economically, politically, and culturally. But we also need your help. Remembering that the Israeli lobby successfully pressured YouTube into demonetizing our channel 6 months ago. Therefore, we kindly ask that you please support our effort to expose and confront the Zionist lobby and other injustices in the Muslim world by becoming a member of our show at patreon.com/CJ We can't produce, sustain and grow this show without your help, and we offer exclusive content and other benefits to those who do. So, whether you're watching or listening, wherever you are, stay blessed.